Hey, what's up guys? It's Luke, and you're watching Luke the Gathering, my new Magic channel. Been trying to post a lot, as much as I can, on this channel. Thank you for being here, and thanks for watching this content. Really appreciate it. Well, I live in Yolo County, which is near Sacramento, and guess what? We are one of the few counties, one or two or three, that have got our mask mandate back. So we're actually mandated to wear masks indoors, and that goes for everything. So it's not that they're cutting down how many people can be indoors, like giving you a percentage, but everyone has to wear a mask, vaxxed or not. So I think that's what affected a lot of businesses, including card stores and gaming stores. So today was the draft, Friday Night Magic draft for Adventures in Dungeons and Dragons, and definitely a little bit lower, not super low. Like, we still had 20, not 20, we had 20 last week. We had like 12 today, and so we had pods of 6, which I thought were pretty good, especially for a day like today, where I felt like, are people going to come out when this new mask mandate thing is hitting? And I do think there were some people who didn't come because of the mask mandate, that you have to wear a mask indoors. And so, you know, this crisis that we've been going through continues on, even though we thought things had been lifted a little bit and things were getting more back to normal. Things have sort of taken a slight step backward, hopefully not too much, because I want to play more inside and with folks and not less. And the more people we can get, the better. Anyways, this was my second in-person draft for Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, and of course it was at Davis Cards and Games in Davis, California. Really great store. They have Friday Night Magic, and they have other draft nights as well. And it's really hard for me to make a lot of these, but I really try to make an effort to go to the Friday night ones, especially because that's where we draft the newest set. The other days are more budget drafts, so maybe they'll do Strixhaven or Kaldheim or other Magic sets that have been released previous. I'd love to do another Strixhaven draft. Hopefully I'll try to get in on another day. But I did go 2-1 in terms of wins, two rounds to 1 round loss. And I thought my deck was decent. It was black and blue today. And there was one card in particular that was like the superstar card for me, and like single-handedly won me games just because of this one particular card. And so I'll talk about the games that I played and also go through the cards that I drafted. I also drafted a bunch of like rares that nobody took. Some of them are better than others, but I was glad to get them, even though I didn't use them. I thought my deck turned out pretty good, except for my first round. I lost in the first round. I was like, oh, this deck is going to be terrible. But thankfully, I did make some changes out of it going into the second and third round, and then I was able to win with the slightly modified deck. It's always good. You kind of have to go through the deck a little bit before you really know what's up with it. So let's go ahead and just check out the cards from the draft and look at the draft deck. Okay, so let's see. We got Mr. Rimshield Frost Giant here. Turned out to be a good pickup, and I was lucky enough to get it into this sort of the old D&D style art. Really tough creature. A 4/5 creature for 5 mana, has Ward 3, which is really tough to get through. And just a big body. This guy did really well for me the few times that I got him out. Hard to get through. And so really happy to have the Rimshield Frost Giant in the squad. Ginny Windseeker was also a really nice pickup for 4 mana. You're getting someone who can fly, and when they come into the battlefield, you get to roll a d20 and scry either 1, 2, or 3. I was always able to scry 2 with Ginny, which was really, really nice to kind of get through the deck. Ginny was really good, did some nice attacking for me. We also got a Displacer Beast. I did a lot of dungeoneering in this tournament, and Displacer Beast was really helpful in getting me through a number of dungeons. I've never gone through this many dungeons before. It wasn't because of Displacer Beast, but Displacer Beast did help. And at 3-2, not a bad sort of card to have on the field. Soul Knife Spy. Soul Knife Spy was great because Soul Knife Spy helped me draw a lot of cards. And I'll tell you the card that helped me enable Soul Knife Spy to do that. I was really glad I picked up this artifact, and some of you might already know what it probably is. Silver Raven put in a lot of work, 1/1 flyer for 1. Love getting this out on turn 1 for 1 blue mana. And, opponents don't really want to kill this too much because it's only doing really a little bit of damage, but when you get him out on turn 1, those little bits of damage get annoying enough, and they really do help you to win the game. Scion of Stygia, I use this a lot on Arena. Didn't do a whole lot in this game. Came out only on in my first round, and tried to block, and he chump blocked because I didn't want to lose that much life. Came in, did that job, and then never really came back. But he usually, I think, not a bad card. This is a card I put in later, Contact Other Plane, to get more cards. I was feeling like, oh man, I really need some card drawing in the deck. And thankfully I did put it in, because in my subsequent games that I did sub this card in from my sideboard, it came up and helped me draw cards, which is exactly what I needed. Secret Door. Another card that's just nice to kind of have you block. I was feeling like my deck might be a little bit slower, and I need a little bit of protection if I can get it in the early game. And actually, thankfully, I was able to draw Secret Door relatively early in some of my games. So it did a magnificent job of just sitting there, not letting anything through. Shortcut Seeker, this cost 1 more mana than the Soul Knife Spy. Soul Knife Spy is 2 colorless and a blue, and Shortcut Seeker is 3 colorless and a blue. And that 1 mana difference actually makes a huge difference. So, definitely not as useful as Soul Knife Spy. Baleful Beholder. Now, this is a 6-drop, but you know what? Very useful 6-drop. It was able to give me Menace, which was great, because using Menace got me a win in one of my games. And so Baleful Beholder did exactly what it needed to do. Plus, it was a huge body, and it's great when you have the mana and you feel like you can put this down. Kind of gives you like that feeling of, okay, I'm a little bit safe for now. Herald of Hadar. Only used him once, but that one time was really important. 4/4 body. The opponent couldn't get over this 4/4 body at the time, and so really, Herald of Hadar was perfect in the game that I used him in. Vampire Spawn. Pulled 2 of these. Did a nice job for me, giving me 2 life, making the opponent lose 2 life. Really nice sort of swing. I hate playing against Vampire Spawns, and they did marvelously for me. I love these guys. Yuan-Ti Fangblade. I always try to draft this guy if I can. 2/2 with Death Touch makes your opponent just scared to go after you, because this guy can just take out their best attacker, especially if they're on the ground. Of course, if they're in the air, it doesn't matter. The other thing is, it lets you go into the dungeon if they do combat damage to the player. And so that's just an added bonus for Yuan-Ti. Good on offense, good on defense. Both, it's a really nice card for 3 mana. Okay, Cradle of Baldur's Gate came out a lot, and I had to get this guy when I saw him come through late, too. Black and blue. Whenever a Cradle of Baldur's Gate deals damage to a player, that player loses a life and mills a card. Then you gain a life and scry 1. So they lose 1, you gain 1, and you scry, and you can make creatures be unblockable. That is a lot of value for, blue and black. Plus, it's a 1/3, so early in the game, this guy can actually probably block for you some of the weaker, smaller creatures that are out there. Really great card. And this is, of course, the card I was talking about earlier. Thieves' Tools makes a creature unblockable if the power is 3 or less. And so this did a magnificent job for me. I just wish I had the Reaper's Talisman, which actually I saw someone drafted. The person next to me must have gotten it right before me. And man, this combined with Krydle, that would have been such an amazing little combination there. All right, moving on to removal. I had quite a bit of removal. I was just trying to get all the removal I could get. We got 2 Grim Bounties in the deck. Came in useful. Power Word Kill came in very, very useful. You come to a river. It bounces one of their guys back to their hand, or it gives one of your creatures unblockable. And You Came to River was just an amazing little thing where, if they were like, okay, I'm going to attack with one and save someone to block, this card just says, nope, you go back to the hand, sorry. I also sent Demolich back to the hand with this card in another game. That was also really a lot of fun. Charm Sleep, more removal. And I did throw in this Great Axe. Why? Well, because I think this would have been great with the little Raven or any flyer, or with this bad boy, Yuan-Ti Malison. This guy won me the game, or an entire round, pretty much. I kept getting him out early. Cannot be blocked as long as he's attacking alone. So if Yuan-Ti is attacking alone, can't block him. And whenever he deals combat damage, venture into the dungeon. That's nuts. So Yuan-Ti was getting into the dungeon every attack. I was always attacking with him alone, and I got a Great Axe on him. So this in and of itself is 6 damage a turn, unblockable. Plus it gets you into the dungeon, and I used Tomb of Annihilation, which took off more life. What a combo. They just couldn't do anything about it. Could not do a thing about it. So this was a beautiful little setup for me, and Yuan-Ti was basically the star. Now, in my first round, I didn't get Yuan-Ti out. In my other rounds, I was able to, and so I think he was just the card that really made the difference for me. All right, so that was my deck. Let's see. What's that? That's not my deck. I thought I had the other part of my deck around here. That's not it. I'm just looking around for it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So in this pile of cards, these are the ones that just didn't make the cut. I took out a Shortcut Seeker. I thought that, its total 4 cost was a bit too high. You see a Guard Approach. I wasn't a huge fan of this card, and so I decided not to put this one in. Bar the Gate, which is great, and it helps you get into the dungeon, but you'd have to save like 3 mana a lot, and I just wasn't feeling like saving the 3 mana. Fate's Reversal, just didn't make the cut. Didn't really need to return anything to the hand. Hired Hexblade, I got a foil. Not a huge fan of this card. I mean, if you have a treasure and you use it to cast the Hired Hexblade, you get to draw a card, but you also lose a life. And so I just thought there's too many negatives for this 2/2 for 2. Deadly Dispute, I just couldn't find. This wasn't really a treasure-making deck, so since I wasn't making a lot of treasure, Deadly Dispute didn't really make the cut. Check for Traps almost made the cut. I love cards like this that kind of punish the opponent. It lets you see their hand. It lets you know what's coming up with them. But Check for Traps just barely did not make the cut. Now, this is another Charm Sleep that I drafted. I put all the removal in the first round, and I think that might have been too much. Like, too much removal, not enough, like, combat tricks and things like that. So this came out of the deck, but I always feel like having removal is so key. Shambling Ghast, also a great card, but I didn't really have anything that synergized too well with it. It makes treasure, but again, my deck's not really a treasure deck. It can also give a creature -1/-1 if it dies, and it just didn't do a whole lot. I took Shambling Ghast out after the first round. Now check this out. I had Rogue class and Warlock class. Now Rogue class, black and blue. Warlock class, black. I thought, wow, these would be really great. They ended up not doing a whole lot. I used them in the first round, and I decided to cut both of them for other sort of more meat and potatoes types of cards. You know, cards that just, I forget what I took out for these, but like you came to a river, like that type of card was put in instead of these, and it was honestly a better choice. Rogue class was really interesting to use. We had to like keep exiling the top card and milling and doing all these things when Cridle attacked and stuff. It was kind of nuts. And Warlock class just wasn't worth it. I couldn't level these up enough because of just not enough mana, and so they both came out. And lastly, I really want to use the Ray of Enfeeblement because it only costs 1. It's an instant, but it just never, I don't know, this one again just barely did not make the cut. I had a bunch of cards that just barely did not make the cut, and I had to just kind of decide, like, hey, which one am I going to use? I was thinking about mana costs, trying to keep mana costs low, which is really important. And so Ray of Enfeeblement was a really low mana cost, but I felt like the other cards did more. Okay, let me show you some of the cards that I didn't use, but I did draft. We got this cool Cave of the Frost Dragon showcase art. Love these. They look so cool, the module versions. I wasn't in white, but this was the best card in the pack, so I took it. Cave of the Frost Dragon becomes a 3/4 white dragon creature with flying until the end of turn. It is still a land. So this is great late in the game if you need an attacking creature. Same thing with Den of the Bugbear. I got 2 of these lands. This one makes goblins, so I do think this is cool. I got Wish. Wish is a weird card. I don't think it's any good at all, unless you put something in the sideboard. I don't even know. Wish is not that great, but it's rare. And then check it out. I got Varus. Varus rare foil. Someone got a double, I think a mythic and a rare in the pack, and then decided to take the mythic and pass the rare foil, and that was Varus, Silvery Moon Ranger. And this was a cool card to get, I thought, just to kind of have. I didn't see anything great in that, so I just took this. And I'm kind of glad because the person who drafted green also got a Ranger class, and so if they got that and this, their deck would have been so scary. But that's it. That's all I really got. The big star for me was Yuan Ti. That guy was just absolutely amazing. And the cool thing, I'm trying to find him right now. I can't find him. He's in one of these piles somewhere. Oh, here he is. He only costs 2 mana. Blue and anything. And that is crazy. He is such great value and did a marvelous job for me. A perfect rogue in this black, blue, sort of smaller creature deck that just pokes and prods at your opponent. That's kind of what I did. I lost to a guy who had a deck that was just massive, and just I couldn't compete with their bigger creatures. They were taking off more damage than I could dish out, and I was having to use my little guys to block to save me. That's not what this deck is about. This deck is about getting that damage in and just poking the guy for 1,000 times till they're done. You know, that's what this deck is all about. And it worked, except for that first round. So I was 2-1. It was great. We had some new players out today, which is always really fun to do, to teach a little bit, and to encourage folks to play the game. And that's it, really. Thanks for watching this little recap video. If you made it to this, part of the video, congrats. You made 20 minutes in almost. That's really kind of you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.